formerly the British Protectorate of Bechuanaland, Botswana adopted its new name at independence in 1966. More than 5 decades of uninterrupted civilian leadership, progressive social policies, and significant capital investment have created one of the most stable economies in Africa. The ruling Botswana Democratic Party has won every election since independence. President Mokgweetsi Eric Masisi assumed the presidency in April 2018 following the retirement of former President Ian Khama due to constitutional term limits. Masisi is Botswana's 5th president since independence. Mineral extraction, principally diamond mining, dominates economic activity, though tourism is a growing sector due to the country's conservation practices and extensive nature preserves. Botswana has one of the world's highest rates of HIV/AIDS infection, but also one of Africa's most progressive and comprehensive programs for dealing with the disease.
Geography.
Botswana.
Location: Southern Africa, north of South Africa.
Geographic coordinates: 2200S, 2400E.
Map references: Africa.
Area total:
581,730 square kilometers.
Land:
566,730 square kilometers.
Water:
15,000 square kilometers.
Country comparison to the world:
49.
Area comparative: slightly smaller than Texas.
Land boundaries: total
347.15 kilometers.
Border countries: 4.
Namibia 1,544 kilometers, South Africa 1,969 kilometers, Zambia 0.15 kilometers, Zimbabwe 834 kilometers.
Coastline: 0 kilometers. Landlocked.
Maritime claims: non-landlocked.
Climate: semi-arid. Warm winters and hot summers.
Terrain: predominantly flat to gently rolling tableland, Kalahari Desert in southwest.
Elevation: mean elevation
1,013 meters.
Elevation extremes:
513 meters lowest point.
Junction of the Limpopo and Shash rivers.
1489 highest point.
Sodilo Hills.
Natural resources: diamonds, copper, nickel, salt, soda ash, potash, coal, iron ore, silver.
Land use: agricultural land
45.8%.
Arable land
0.6%. Permanent crops
0%, /permanent pasture
45.2%.
Forest
19.8%.
Other
34.4%.
Irrigated land 20 square kilometers.
Population distribution: the population is primarily concentrated in the east with a focus in and around the capital of Gaborone, and the far central eastern city of Francistown. Population density remains low in other areas in the country, especially in the Kalahari to the west.
Natural hazards: periodic droughts. Seasonal August winds blow from the west, carrying sand and dust across the country, which can obscure visibility.
Environment: current issues: overgrazing, desertification, limited freshwater resources, air pollution.
Environment: international agreements. Party to.
Biodiversity: climate change Kyoto Protocol, desertification, endangered species, hazardous wastes, law of the sea, ozone layer protection, wetlands.
Signed, but not ratified.
None of the selected agreements.
Geography. Note: landlocked. Population concentrated in eastern part of the country.
People and society:
Botswana.
Population 2,249,104.
Note:
estimates for this country explicitly take into account the effects of excess mortality due to AIDS. This can result in lower life expectancy, higher infant mortality, higher death rates, lower population growth rates, and changes in the distribution of population by age and sex than would otherwise be expected.
Country comparison to the world.
144.
Nationality: noun.
Botswana, singular, Botswana, plural.
Adjective:
Botswana, singular, Botswana, plural.
Ethnic groups: Tswana, or Setswana, 79%, Kalanga 11%, Bisawa 3%, other, including Kalagadian white 7%.
Languages: Setswana 77.3%, Sakalanga 7.4%, Shekalagadi 3.4%, English, official 2.8%, Zezuru, Shona 2%, Sazawa 1.7%, Sembiakushia 1.6%, and Bell 1%, other 2.8%.
Religions: Christian 79.1%, Buddhism 4.1%, other 1.4%, includes Baha'i, Hindu, Muslim, Rastafarian, non 15.2%, unspecified 0.3%.
Demographic profile: Botswana has experienced one of the most rapid declines in fertility in sub-Saharan Africa. The total fertility rate has fallen from more than 5 children per woman in the mid-1980s to approximately 2.4 in 2013. The fertility reduction has been attributed to a host of factors, including higher educational attainment among women, greater participation of women in the workforce, increased contraceptive use, later first births, and a strong national family planning program. Botswana was making significant progress in several health indicators, including life expectancy and infant and child mortality rates, until being devastated by the HIV/AIDS epidemic in the 1990s.
Today, Botswana has the third highest HIV/AIDS prevalence rate in the world at approximately 22%. However, comprehensive and effective treatment programs have reduced HIV/AIDS-related deaths. The combination of declining fertility and increasing mortality rates because of HIV/AIDS is slowing the population aging process, with a narrowing of the youngest age groups and little expansion of the oldest age groups. Nevertheless, having the bulk of its population, about 60%, of working age will only yield economic benefits if the labour force is healthy, educated, and productively employed.
Botswana have been working as contract miners in South Africa since the 19th century. Although Botswana's economy improved shortly after independence in 1966 with the discovery of diamonds and other minerals, its lingering high poverty rate and lack of job opportunities continued to push workers to seek mining work in southern African countries. In the early 1970s, about a third of Botswana's male labor force worked in South Africa, lesser numbers went to Namibia and Zimbabwe. Not until the 1980s and 1990s, when South African mining companies had reduced their recruitment of foreign workers and Botswana's economic prospects had improved, were Botswana increasingly able to find job opportunities at home.
Most Botswana prefer life in their home country and choose cross-border migration on a temporary basis only for work, shopping, visiting family, or tourism. Since the 1970s, Botswana has pursued an open migration policy enabling it to recruit thousands of foreign workers to fill skilled labour shortages. In the late 1990s, Botswana's prosperity and political stability attracted not only skilled workers, but small numbers of refugees from neighbouring Angola, Namibia, and Zimbabwe.
Age structure: 0–14 years,
31.48%, male 357,175/female 350,775.
15–24 years,
18.7%, male 207,611/female 212,874.
25–54 years,
38.88%, male 412,475/female 462,013.
55–64 years,
5.61%, male 53,653/female 72,617.
65 years and over,
5.33%, male 51,304/female 68,607.
population pyramid.
Population pyramid.
Dependency ratios.
Dependency ratios are a measure of the age structure of a population. They relate the number of individuals that are likely to be economically dependent on the support of others. Dependency ratios contrast the ratio of youths, ages 0 to 14, and the elderly, ages 65 plus, to the number of those in the working age group, ages 15 to 64. Changes in the dependency ratio provide an indication of potential social support requirements resulting from changes in population age structures, as fertility level. More dependency ratios. Field listing.
Total dependency ratio.
55.1.
Youth dependency ratio.
49.3.
Elderly dependency ratio.
5.8.
Potential support ratio.
17.3.
Median age, total.
24.9 years.
Male.
23.8 years.
Female.
26 years.
Country comparison to the world.
158.
Population growth rate, 1.52%.
Country comparison to the world.
71.
Birth rate, 21.7 births out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
70.
Death rate, 9.5 deaths out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
48.
Net migration rate, 3 migrant, s, out of 1,000 population.
Country comparison to the world.
34.
Population distribution. The population is primarily concentrated in the east with a focus in and around the capital of Gaborone, and the far central eastern city of Francistown. Population density remains low in other areas in the country, especially in the Kalahari to the west.
Urbanization. Urban population.
69.4% of total population.
Rate of urbanization.
2.87% annual rate of change.
Major urban areas. Population 269,000. Gaborone. Capital.
Sex ratio, at birth.
1.03 male, s/female.
0-14 years.
1.04 male, s/female.
15-24 years.
0.99 male, s/female.
25-54 years.
1.15 male, s/female.
55-64 years.
0.82 male, s/female.
65 years and over.
0.66 male, s/female.
Total population.
1.04 male, s/female.
Maternal mortality rate.
The maternal mortality rate, MMR, is the annual number of female deaths per 100,000 live births from any cause related to or aggravated by pregnancy or its management, excluding accidental or incidental causes. The MMR includes deaths during pregnancy, childbirth, or within 42 days of termination of pregnancy, irrespective of the duration in sight of the pregnancy, for a specified year. Maternal mortality rate field listing.
129 deaths/100,000 live births.
Country comparison to the world.
65.
Infant mortality rate, total.
28.6 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Male.
31.2 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Female.
26 deaths out of 1,000 live births.
Country comparison to the world.
65.
Life expectancy at birth, total population.
63.8 years.
Male.
61.8 years.
Female.
66 years.
Country comparison to the world.
192.
Total fertility rate, 2.53 children born/woman.
Country comparison to the world.
77.
Health expenditures, 5.4% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
129.
Physicians density, 0.38 physicians out of 1,000 population.
Hospital bed density, 1.8 beds out of 1,000 population.
Drinking water source, improved.
Urban,
99.2% of population.
rural,
92.3% of population.
total,
96.2% of population.
unimproved,
Urban,
0.8% of population.
rural,
7.7% of population.
total.
3.8% of population.
Sanitation facility access, improved.
Urban,
78.5% of population.
rural,
43.1% of population.
total,
63.4% of population.
unimproved,
Urban,
21.5% of population.
rural,
56.9% of population.
total.
36.6% of population.
HIV/AIDS adult prevalence rate, 22.8%.
Country comparison to the world.
3.
HIV/AIDS, people living with HIV/AIDS, 380,000.
Country comparison to the world.
19.
HIV/AIDS deaths, 4,100.
Country comparison to the world.
34.
Major infectious diseases, degree of risk.
High.
Food or waterborne diseases.
Bacterial diarrhea, hepatitis A, and typhoid fever.
Vector-borne diseases.
Malaria.
Obesity. Adult prevalence rate, 18.9%.
Country comparison to the world.
114.
Education expenditures, 9.6% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
6.
Literacy. Definition.
Age 15 and over can read and write.
Total population.
88.5%.
Male.
88%.
Female.
88.9%.
School life expectancy. Primary to tertiary education.
School life expectancy, SLE, is the total number of years of schooling, primary to tertiary, that a child can expect to receive, assuming that the probability of his or her being enrolled in school at any particular future age is equal to the current enrollment ratio at that age. Caution must be maintained when utilizing this indicator in international comparisons. For example, a year or grade completed in one country is not necessarily the same in terms of educational content or quality. More school life expectancy, primary to tertiary education, field listing.
Total
13 years.
Male
13 years.
Female
13 years.
Unemployment, youth ages 15-24. Total
36%.
Male
29.6%.
Female
43.5%.
Country comparison to the world.
19.
Government
Botswana.
Country name Conventional long form
Republic of Botswana.
Conventional short form
Botswana.
Local long form
Republic of Botswana.
Local short form
Botswana.
Former
Bechuanaland.
Etymology.
The name Botswana means land of Botswana, referring to the country's major ethnic group.
Government type Parliamentary Republic.
Capital name
Gaborone.
Geographic coordinates
2438s 2554e.
Time difference
UTC +2, 7 hours ahead of Washington, D.C., during Standard Time.
Administrative divisions 10 districts and 6 town councils asterisk. Central, Chobe, Franstown asterisk, Gaborone asterisk, Gar-Anzi, Waning asterisk, Gligadi, Gatling, Quining, Lobats asterisk, Northeast, Northwest, Sulabefik asterisk, Southeast, Southern, Soatown asterisk.
Independence.
For most countries, this entry gives the date that sovereignty was achieved and from which nation, empire, or trusteeship. For the other countries, the date given may not represent independence in the strict sense, but rather some significant nationhood event such as the traditional founding date or the date of unification, federation, confederation, establishment, fundamental change in the form of government, or state succession. For a number of countries, the establishment of statehood. More independence field listing.
The 30th of September 1966. From the UK.
National holiday. Independence Day, Botswana Day, the 30th of September, 1966.
Constitution. History.
Previous 1960. Pre-independence. Latest adopted March 1965. Effective the 30th of September 1966.
Amendments.
Proposed by the National Assembly. Passage requires approval in 2 successive Assembly votes with at least 2/3 majority in the final vote. Proposals to amend constitutional provisions on fundamental rights and freedoms, the structure and branches of government, and public services also requires approval by majority vote in a referendum and assent by the President of the Republic. Amended several times, last in 2006.
Legal system. Mixed legal system of civil law influenced by the Roman Dutch model and also customary and common law.
International Law Organization participation accepts compulsory ICJ jurisdiction with reservations. Accept SIC jurisdiction.
Citizenship. Citizenship by birth.
No.
Citizenship by descent only.
At least one parent must be a citizen of Botswana.
Dual citizenship recognized.
No.
Residency requirement for naturalization.
10 years.
Suffrage. 18 years of age. Universal.
Executive branch. Chief of State.
President Mokgweetserek Masisi, since the 1st of April 2018. Vice President Slumbert Sogwane, since the 4th of April 2018. Note: the President is both Chief of State and Head of Government.
Head of Government.
President Mokgweetserek Masisi, since the 1st of April 2018. Vice President Slumbert Sogwane, since the 4th of April 2018. Note: the President is both Chief of State and Head of Government.
Cabinet.
Cabinet appointed by the President.
Elections/appointments.
President indirectly elected by the National Assembly for a 5-year term. Eligible for a second term. Election last held on the 24th of October 2014, next to be held in October 2019. Vice President appointed by the President.
Election results.
President Seretse Khama Ian Khama, since the 1st of April 2008, stepped down on the 1st of April 2018 having completed the constitutionally mandated 10-year term limit. Upon his retirement, then Vice President Masisi became President.
Legislative branch. Description.
Unicameral Parliament consists of the National Assembly, 63 seats, 57 members directly elected in single-seat constituencies by simple majority vote, 4 nominated by the President and indirectly elected by simple majority vote by the rest of the National Assembly, and 2 ex officio members, the President and Attorney General. Elected members serve 5-year terms. Note: the House of Chiefs, Ntlo Yadikosi, an advisory body to the National Assembly, consists of 35 members, 8 hereditary chiefs from Botswana's principal tribes, 22 indirectly elected by the chiefs, and 5 appointed by the president. The House of Chiefs consults on issues including powers of chiefs, customary courts, customary law, tribal property, and constitutional amendments.
Elections.
Last held on the 24th of October 2014, next to be held in October 2019.
Election results.
Percent of vote by party: BDP 46.5%, UDC 30.0%, PCP 20.4%, Independent 3.1%, seats by party: BDP 37, UDC 17, BCP 3, composition: men 57, women 6%, of women 9.5%.
Judicial branch. Highest courts.
Court of Appeal, High Court. Each consists of a Chief Justice and a number of other judges as prescribed by the Parliament.
Judge selection in term of office.
Court of Appeal and High Court. Chief Justice is appointed by the President and other judges appointed by the President upon the advice of the Judicial Service Commission, all judges appointed to serve until age 70.
Subordinate courts.
Industrial Court, with circuits scheduled monthly in the capital city and in 3 districts. Magistrates' Courts, 1 in each district. Customary Court of Appeal, Paramount Chiefs Court, Urban Customary Court, Senior Chiefs Representative Court, Chiefs Representatives Court, Headman's Court.
Political parties and leaders. Botswana Congress Party or BCP, Dumalang Sale Shando.
Botswana Democratic Party or BDP, Ian Khama.
Botswana Movement for Democracy or BMD, Sydney Pallon.
Botswana National Front or BNF, Duma Boko.
Botswana People's Party or BPP, Motlatsi Mola PC.
Real Alternative Party or RAP, Gantebal Mokgosi.
Umbrella for Democratic Change or UDC, Duma Boko. Various times the collation has included the BMD, BCP and BNF, 2019.
International Organization Participation, ACP, FDB, OC, CD, FAO, G77, ERIA, IBRD, ICAO, ICT, ICRM, IDA, IFAT, IFC, IFX, ILO, IMF, Interpol, IOC, IAM, IPU, ISO, ITSO, ITU, ITUC, NGOs, MEGA, NAM, OPCW, SACU, SADC, UN, UNCTAD, UNESCO, UNIDO, UNTO, APU, WCO, WFTU, NGOs, WHO, WIPO, WMO, WTO.
Diplomatic representation in the U.S. Chief of Mission.
Ambassador David John Newman, since the 3rd of August 2015.
Chancery.
1531 to 1533 New Hampshire Avenue NW, Washington, D.C. 20036.
Telephone.
12022444990.
Fax.
12022444164.
Consulate. S. General.
Atlanta.
Diplomatic representation from the U.S. Chief of Mission.
Ambassador Earl Miller, since the 30th of January 2015.
Embassy.
Embassy Drive, Government Enclave, off Karma Crescent, Gaborone.
Mailing address.
Embassy Enclave, P.O. Box 90, Gaborone.
Telephone.
267 395 3982.
Fax.
267 3180
Flag description. Light blue with a horizontal white-edged black stripe in the center. The blue symbolizes water in the form of rain, while the black and white bands represent racial harmony.
National symbols. Zebra, national colors.
Blue, white, black.
National anthem. Name.
Fatchlen Olarona, Aland.
Lyrics. Music.
Gulmangchumedisco Motseat.
Note.
Adopted 1966.
Economy.
Botswana.
Economy. Overview. Until the beginning of the global recession in 2008, Botswana maintained one of the world's highest economic growth rates since its independence in 1966. Botswana recovered from the global recession in 2010, but only grew modestly until 2017, primarily due to a downturn in the global diamond market, though water and power shortages also played a role. Through fiscal discipline and sound management, Botswana has transformed itself from one of the poorest countries in the world 5 decades ago into a middle-income country with a per capita GDP of approximately $18,100 in 2017. Botswana also ranks as one of the least corrupt and best places to do business in sub-Saharan Africa.
Because of its heavy reliance on diamond exports, Botswana's economy closely follows global price trends for that one commodity. Diamond mining fueled much of Botswana's past economic expansion and currently accounts for 1/4 of GDP, approximately 85% of export earnings, and about 1/3 of the government's revenues. In 2017, diamond exports increased to the highest levels since 2013 at about 22 million carats of output, driving Botswana's economic growth to about 4.5% and increasing foreign exchange reserves to about 45% of GDP. De Beers, a major international diamond company, signed a 10-year deal with Botswana in 2012 and moved its rough stone sorting and trading division from London to Gaborone in 2013. The move was geared to support the development of Botswana's nascent downstream diamond industry.
Tourism is a secondary earner of foreign exchange, and many Botswana engage in tourism-related services, subsistence farming, and cattle rearing. According to official government statistics, unemployment is around 20%, but unofficial estimates run much higher. The prevalence of HIV/AIDS is second highest in the world and threatens the country's impressive economic gains.
GDP, purchasing power parity, $39.01 billion,
$38.11 billion.
$36.54 billion.
Note:
data in 2017 dollars.
Country comparison to the world.
121.
GDP, official exchange rate, $17.38 billion.
GDP, real growth rate, 2.4%.
4.3%.
Minus 1.7%.
Country comparison to the world.
137.
GDP, per capita. PPP, $17,000.
$16,900.
$16,500.
Note:
data are in 2017 dollars.
Country comparison to the world.
101.
Gross national saving.
Gross national saving is derived by deducting final consumption expenditure, household plus government, from gross national disposable income, and consists of personal saving, plus business saving, the sum of the capital consumption allowance and retained business profits, plus government saving, the excess of tax revenues over expenditures, but excludes foreign saving, the excess of imports of goods and services over exports. The figures are presented as a percent of GDP. A negative. More gross national saving field listing.
40.3% of GDP.
38.8% of GDP.
41.2% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
9.
GDP, composition, by end use. Household consumption.
48.5%.
Government consumption.
18.4%.
Investment in fixed capital.
29%.
Investment in inventories.
Minus 1.8%.
Exports of goods and services.
39.8%.
Imports of goods and services.
Minus 33.9%.
GDP, composition, by sector of origin. Agriculture.
1.8%.
Industry.
27.5%.
Services.
70.6%.
Agriculture, products, livestock, sorghum, maize, millet, beans, sunflowers, groundnuts.
Industries: diamonds, copper, nickel, salt, soda ash, potash, coal, iron ore, silver, beef processing, textiles.
Industrial production growth rate, minus 4.2%.
Country comparison to the world.
193.
Labor force, 1.177 million.
Country comparison to the world.
141.
Labor force, by occupation. Agriculture.
Na.
Industry.
Na.
Services.
Na.
Unemployment rate, 20%.
17.8%.
Country comparison to the world.
185.
Population below poverty line.
National estimates of the percentage of the population falling below the poverty line are based on surveys of subgroups, with the results weighted by the number of people in each group. Definitions of poverty vary considerably among nations. For example, rich nations generally employ more generous standards of poverty than poor nations. Population below poverty line field listing.
19.3%.
Household income or consumption by percentage share.
Data on household income or consumption come from household surveys, the results adjusted for household size. Nations use different standards and procedures in collecting and adjusting the data. Surveys based on income will normally show a more unequal distribution than surveys based on consumption. The quality of surveys is improving with time, yet caution is still necessary in making inter-country comparisons. Household income or consumption by percentage share field listing.
Lowest 10%.
Nah.
Highest 10%.
Nah.
Distribution of family income. Gini index 60.5.
63, 1993.
Country comparison to the world.
5.
Budget. Revenues.
5.305 billion.
Expenditures.
5.478 billion.
Taxes and other revenues. 30.5% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
75.
Budget surplus, plus, or deficit, dash, minus 1%, of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
76.
Public debt. 14% of GDP.
15.6% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
195.
Fiscal year. The 1st of April. The 31st of March.
Inflation rate, consumer prices, 3.3%.
2.8%.
Country comparison to the world.
136.
Central bank discount rate, 5.5%. The 31st of December 2016.
6%. The 31st of December 2015.
Country comparison to the world.
74.
Commercial bank prime lending rate, 6.88%.
7.3%.
Country comparison to the world.
121.
Stock of Naira money, $1.645 billion.
$1.494 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
140.
Stock of broad money, $1.645 billion.
$1.494 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
148.
Stock of domestic credit, $3.002 billion.
$2.579 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
140.
Market value of publicly traded shares, $4.588 billion.
$4.107 billion.
$4.076 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
85.
Current account balance $2.146 billion.
$2.147 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
40.
Exports $5.934 billion.
$7.226 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
103.
Exports partners Belgium 20.3%, India 12.6%, UAE 12.4%, South Africa 11.9%, Singapore 8.7%, Israel 7%, Hong Kong 4.1%, Namibia 4.1%.
Exports, commodities, diamonds, copper, nickel, soda ash, beef, textiles.
Imports $5.005 billion.
$5.871 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
128.
Imports commodities, foodstuffs, machinery, electrical goods, transport equipment, textiles, fuel and petroleum products, wood and paper products, metal and metal products.
Imports, partners, South Africa 66.1%, Canada 8.3%, Israel 5.3%.
Reserves of foreign exchange in gold $7.491 billion.
$7.189 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
82.
Debt external $2.187 billion.
$2.421 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
151.
Stock of direct foreign investment at home $5.319 billion.
$5.699 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
106.
Stock of direct foreign investment abroad $1.973 billion.
$1.312 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
84.
Exchange rates, pullers, BWP, per US dollar.
10.19.
10.9022.
10.9022.
10.1263.
8.9761.
Energy.
Botswana.
Electricity access. Population without electricity.
700,000.
Electrification. Total population.
66%.
Electrification. Urban areas.
75%.
Electrification. Rural areas.
54%.
Electricity production. 2.527 billion.
Country comparison to the world.
135.
Electricity consumption 3.636 billion kWh.
Country comparison to the world.
131.
Electricity exports 0 kilowatt hours.
Country comparison to the world.
109.
Electricity imports 1.673 billion kWh.
Country comparison to the world.
59.
Electricity installed generating capacity 735,000 kilowatts.
Country comparison to the world.
135.
Electricity from fossil fuels 100% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
4.
Electricity from nuclear fuels 0% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
54.
Electricity from hydroelectric plants 0% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
159.
Electricity from other renewable sources 0% of total installed capacity.
Country comparison to the world.
178.
Crude oil production 0 barrel day.
Country comparison to the world.
113.
Crude oil exports 0 barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
97.
Crude oil imports 0 barrel day.
Country comparison to the world.
100.
Crude oil proved reserves 0 barrels.
Country comparison to the world.
110.
Refined petroleum products production 0 barrel day.
Country comparison to the world.
122.
Refined petroleum products consumption 21,000 barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
135.
Refined petroleum products exports 0 barrel day.
Country comparison to the world.
133.
Refined petroleum products imports 21,090 barrels/day.
Country comparison to the world.
116.
Natural gas production 0 cubic meters.
Country comparison to the world.
108.
Natural gas consumption 0 qm.
Country comparison to the world.
124.
Natural gas exports 0 cubic meters.
Country comparison to the world.
73.
Natural gas imports 0 qm.
Country comparison to the world.
95.
Natural gas proved reserves 0 cubic meters.
Country comparison to the world.
114.
Carbon dioxide emissions from consumption of energy 6.235 million.
Country comparison to the world.
127.
Communications.
Botswana.
Telephones, fixed lines, total subscriptions.
141,207.
Subscriptions per 100 inhabitants.
6.
Country comparison to the world.
132.
Telephones, mobile cellular, total subscriptions.
3,240,589.
Subscriptions per 100 inhabitants.
146.
Country comparison to the world.
138.
Telephone system, general assessment.
Effective regulatory reform has turned the Botswana's telecom market into one of the most liberalized in the region. Botswana has one of the highest mobile penetration rates in Africa. 3 MNOs have entered the underdeveloped broadband sector with the adoption of 3G, LTE and WiMAX technologies. Mobile internet remains the preferred choice. Domestic
fixed line teledensity has declined in recent years and now stands at roughly 6 telephones per 100 persons. Mobile cellular teledensity has advanced to 150 telephones per 100 persons.
International
Country code 267. International calls are made via satellite, using international direct dialing, to international exchanges. Digital microwave radio relay links to Namibia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and South Africa. Satellite Earth Station 1 Intelsat, Indian Ocean.
Botswana is participating in regional development efforts, expanding fully digital system with fiber optic cables linking the major population centers in the east as well as a system of open wire lines, microwave radio relays links, and radio to phone communication stations. The Botswana Telecommunications Corporation is rolling out 4G service to over 95 sites in the country that will improve network connectivity.
Broadcast media. 2 TV stations, 1 state-owned and 1 privately owned. Privately owned satellite TV subscription service is available. 2 state-owned national radio stations. 3 privately owned radio stations broadcast locally.
Internet country code.
Internet users. Total.
869,610.
Percent of population.
39.4%.
Country comparison to the world.
136.
Broadband. Fixed subscriptions. Total.
48,901.
Subscriptions per 100 inhabitants.
2.
Country comparison to the world.
130.
Transportation.
Botswana.
National Air Transport System. Number of registered air carriers.
1.
Inventory of registered aircraft operated by air carriers.
6.
Annual passenger traffic on registered air carriers.
194,005.
Annual freight traffic on registered air carriers.
94,729.
Civil aircraft registration country code prefix. A2.
Airports. 74.
Country comparison to the world.
70.
Airports, with paved runways, total.
10.
Over 3,047 meters.
2.
2,438 to 3,047 meters.
1.
1,524 to 2,437 meters.
6.
914 to 1,523 meters.
1.
Airports, with unpaved runways, total.
64.
1,524 to 2,437 meters.
5.
914 to 1,523 meters.
46.
Under 914 meters.
13.
Railways, total.
888 kilometers.
Narrow gauge.
888 kilometers. 1.067 m gauge.
Country comparison to the world.
95.
Roadways, military and security.
Botswana.
Military expenditures, 3.37% of GDP.
2.66% of GDP.
2.13% of GDP.
2.06% of GDP.
2.23% of GDP.
Country comparison to the world.
22.
Military branches. Botswana Defence Force, BDF.
Ground Forces Command, Air Arm Command, Defense Logistics Command.
Military service age and obligation. 18 is the legal minimum age for voluntary military service. No conscription.
Transnational issues.
Botswana.
Disputes. International, none.
Trafficking in persons.
Trafficking in persons is modern-day slavery, involving victims who are forced, defrauded, or coerced into labor or sexual exploitation. The International Labour Organization, ILO, the UN agency charged with addressing labor standards, employment, and social protection issues, estimated in 2011 that 20.9 million people worldwide were victims of forced labor, bonded labor, forced child labor, sexual servitude, and involuntary servitude. Human trafficking is a multi-dimensional threat. Dippery. More trafficking in persons field listing.
Current situation.
Botswana is a source, transit, and destination country for women and children subjected to sex trafficking and forced labor, young Botswana serving as domestic workers, sometimes sent by their parents, may be denied education and basic necessities or experience confinement and abuse indicative of forced labor. Botswana girls and women also are forced into prostitution domestically. Adults and children of San ethnicity were reported to be in forced labor on farms and at cattle posts in the country's rural west.
Tier rating.
Tier 2 watch list. Botswana does not fully comply with the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking, however, it is making significant efforts to do so. An anti-trafficking act was passed at the beginning of 2014, but authorities did not investigate, prosecute, or convict any offenders or government officials complicit in trafficking or operationalize victim identification and referral procedures based on the new law. The government sponsored a radio campaign to familiarize the public with the issue of human trafficking.